Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Wednesday, October 26, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Detroit Pistons vs Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks have won 2 of their last 3 games. They are playing very well offensively, scoring more than 111 points per game. They've shot the ball well from the field, and they've done a good job finding the open man. They are very aggressive on the offensive glass, which will lead to more scoring opportunities, and they've done a good job protecting the ball. The Pistons have struggled defensively this season, giving up more than 120 points per game, and will have a hard time slowing down the Hawks in this game. Detroit has done a better job on offense, where they are scoring more than 110 points per game. Their rebounding has been good and it will keep them in this game, but they aren't shooting the ball well from the free throw line, and they've been careless with the ball. The Hawks have done a great job forcing turnovers, and they don't give up a lot of points, so expect them to keep Detroit's offense in check. Go with Atlanta -7 points to cover the spread. As previously mentioned, Detroit is allowing an average of 121.0 points per game in their first 3 games of the regular season, and each of those 3 have finished over. The total has finished over in each of Detroit's last 7 games going back to last season. Both Atlanta and Detroit will play an up-tempo game on offense, as both will look to get off as many shots as possible and not use the full 24-second clock in any possession, which creates more opportunity for points and a higher overall point total. Chicago Bulls vs Indiana Pacers. The Bulls haven't shot the ball well from the outside and have struggled to get the easy baskets, ranking dead last in the NBA, scoring just 38.5 points in the paint per game. Don't expect Chicago's inside scoring to improve much in this game going up against a Pacers defense that allows just 40.5 points in the paint per game, which is the 4th best in the NBA. The Pacers also hold an edge over the Bulls in assists to turnover ratio, blocks, and rebounding margin. Indiana also has more scoring options, as they are first in the NBA, averaging 53.3 ppg off the bench, while Chicago is just 21s, averaging 32.3 ppg off the bench. Indiana has covered the spread in 4 of its last 5 trips to Chicago, and I will take them here to keep this game competitive and cover. Our team pick is Indiana Pacers plus 7.5 points. The Pacers are young. In this young season, that has had some ramifications. Firstly, they have played with a tremendous amount of young, fresh energy. They are hungry to define themselves and become an established force in the NBA. This is evident in their second game of the season against the San Antonio Spurs. They trailed in that match by as many as 21 points. In response, the Pacers exploded in the 4th quarter with 49 points to end the game, just falling short 137-134. In that game, both Tyrese Haliburton and Benedict Mathurin lead the way in scoring with 27 and 26 respectively. Then, in the 3rd game of the season, the duo flashed their young brilliance again by leading the team, both scoring in the mid-20s. In fact, according to NBA.com's Wheat Hotchkiss, Benedict Mathurin's 72 points in the first 3 games of his career is the most by a Pacers rookie ever. During that same time span, Haliburton scored 77. So far, this duo has demonstrably shown the ability to create the energy required to take on the league's best. That 3rd game became the Pacers' first win of the season, beating the Detroit Pistons 124-115. The Pacers have pushed the tempo against some of the league's lower teams. The Bulls will look to control that tempo by defining an inside-outside game, leading with a connection between Nikola Vucevic and Rosen, Lavin, and Dosunmu. The Bulls will control the tempo and the boards. The young Pacers will struggle inside and will try to make up for it on the perimeter. The Bulls held the Celtics to 102, Washington to 102, and Miami to 108. Look for the Pacers to come in close to the century mark. We are grabbing the value under 233.5 points. Minnesota Timberwolves vs San Antonio Spurs. No better an authority than Spurs head coach Greg Popovich announced for all to hear that it would be a challenging season for his young Spurs team this season. Popovich understands better than most, especially after dealing his team's best player, Dejounte Murray, in the offseason, as he continues to tinker with his roster for future success. Someone forgot to tell this young Spurs team that they can't win, however, as they have jumped out to a 3-1 record including a 3-0 record on the road. On Monday night, the Spurs jumped out to a 20-point lead over host Minnesota and cruised to a 115-106 win. Devin Vassell scored 23 points, and Jakob Poeltl chipped in with a double-double of 14 points and 14 rebounds in the victory. The Spurs had 39 points in the first quarter and shot 63% to put the Timberwolves in a hole that they could never get out of. The Timberwolves are still trying to establish their identity with shot blocker Gobert in the middle and Towns playing more on the perimeter. They are, not surprisingly, rebounding well this season with 2 7-footers in the starting lineup and have done well in holding the opposition to 43% shooting after finishing just 14th in the league in opponents' shooting percentage last season. They have also been very good at getting out on 3PT shooters, 8th in the league in opponents' 3PT shooting percentage thus far. Last season, they finished 14th in that category as well. The Timberwolves have not shot the ball particularly well over 4 games, particularly from 3PT range. While he is averaging 20 points per game, Edwards is shooting just 25% from 3PT range. Towns is also shooting an uncharacteristic 41% from the field. The Spurs' 3-1 record is a bit of a mirage, but the young team is playing hard and playing smart, number 3 in assist-turnover ratio at this point. The Spurs are allowing teams to shoot over 47% from the field and are facing a Minnesota team that is one of the more efficient teams offensively, getting good looks without reward thus far. The Timberwolves' shooting will improve, particularly Edwards and Towns, and their defense should be a constant led by Towns. Despite Monday's win, San Antonio is 2-7 at TS in their last 9 meetings with Minnesota. With a game under their belt with the Spurs and a day of rest, look for the T-Wolves to come alive on Wednesday night and end the Spurs' 3-game winning streak. Take Minnesota and lay the points. The Spurs were strong on the road once again in winning their 3rd straight game on Monday. They had 6 double-digit scorers and got 38 points off of the bench. Their biggest flaw on the night was shooting just 7-13 from the free throw line, but they still shattered the spread by 17.5. Jakob Poeltl had 14 points on the night and pulled down a game-high 14 rebounds, 8 on the offensive end. He has league-high 21 offensive boards so far this season, and his 10.8 total rebounds per game are 10th in the NBA. The total on Monday was 221, well under the 235 heading into the night. It's a common theme in the series with the undergoing 5-3 in the last 8 between these two. The Twolves tend to be an under team overall, being 1-3 in that direction this season and having 7 unders in their last 10 games. I think both defenses tighten up a bit more tonight after getting to know each other on Monday under 231.